are these DLC situations and the economies that Capcom at least is developing in the modern times, is it working? Is it making people feel engaged with these games? Is it making people want to come back and spend their money, or does it make people feel like they are obligated to spend more on top of the $60 or more that they forked over initially?
I feel like the avatar costumes and the system that powers them aren't really consumer friendly in Street Fighter 6, and it feels out of line with the past things in the series. I think that these things could be fixed with some future updates to the game and setting a correct price for the Street Fighter 6 premium DLC costumes, which we don't know how much they're going to cost exactly just yet. And when they're coming out, what they're, what kind of package they're going to look like. But I wanted to take a past history here and look at what prior costumes in the series have cost. Starting with Street Fighter 4, they were about $4 a piece, and then in Street Fighter 5, they're about $6. Now in 4, they were bundled a lot more, and 5, they're, just get them in different ways. But yeah, you could also, get a reduced price on some of the stuff by, having bundled in certain ways and all that. But as a general rule, that was what it was. So right now, I think that Street Fighter 6's DLC costume should cost about $8. It's, about every game that they do, they up the price by about $2. And, given the current state of the economy and inflation, all that other kind of stuff and premium items, I think that $8 seems like a fair mark to hit. How about you? How does that strike you?
We have examples of, I think, 8 of these costumes that are coming, and most of them, if not all of them, look like costumes that would be worth paying some extra money for, which is the first and foremost, you have to have that level of quality, and it looks like they probably will. We only have the concept art, but they look pretty snazzy. I could stomach paying $8 for a costume that I thought was particularly cool. That said, it's weird that haven't gotten any of these yet, and instead Capcom has just resorted to $15 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costumes, and that's for each different one, which the differences, although important, are fairly minor, and that's for an avatar character.
Yeah. The TMNT edition of Street Fighter 6 cost you $60 if you want it, and it's like, what? It's like, well, why did you do that? And we're going to get into a little bit more of some of the faux pas they committed with this. That's about, like, if you wanted to buy Rashid or Aki separately, like if you didn't get them in the battle pass, they're about $8 a piece right now. So you might argue that costumes should be cheaper, but costumes are not a required thing; they're an optional thing. And if they're really nice costumes, if they're really well done, like they were in Street Fighter 5, like I don't mind paying a little bit extra. But you start getting into like the $12 to $15 range, like what we're paying right now for avatar costumes, and that just starts to feel like a little bit like, I just plunked down $60 for this game. What are you doing here? Like you seem like you feel like you got your consumers over the coals, and you can kind of charge whatever you want to at that point. It feels a little predatory to me.
Yeah, and perception of this game is huge. We recently have been sort of pointing out some faux pas, as you might put it, with Street Fighter 6 and how the honeymoon phase is over. And people are, right now especially, more prone, it seems, on social media to look at the faults and the negativities about a game. And everyone gets it. You're a business, you want to continue to make money. It costs a lot more to produce these games than it did 10, 15, 20 years ago. And yet we still have a $60, unless you're MK1 and it's $70 dollar price tag to get it. That might be a little bit low. So fair enough, it can be there. But if it feels like you are trying to gouge or you are trying to take advantage, then you lose that charisma. And this could be a thing where people get on and they see the new thing, and instead of thinking about it as a monetary transaction, they think, I need to have that. That will make my Street Fighter 6 experience better. That's what you want to land with. I like the way that Resident Evil 4 did it recently. Capcom also. There's like, here's an update to the game, one of the little side games. It's free. And then if you want to continue the Resident Evil 4 experience, but play as Ada Wong in this side quest chapter, you can do that for another like $10. That, to me, the first thing I don't think is, oh, it's way too much, it's too expensive. It's, oh, I could absolutely spend $10 because I'm thinking about exploring the game further in a fun way, and I want I want to consume it. So they really need to hit that I want to consume it and have people interacting with it that way, and not so much, oh my gosh, look what they're doing. I can see the conversations that they were having as they rub their hands together and twist to their greedy mustaches, sort of a thing. You don't want that perception.
Do the Dr. Evil there. Yeah. And so people might be out there going, well, hey, wait a second. I know there's a bunch of in-game currency in Street Fighter 6. Can't you just, grind it and unlock it? And technically, yes. But there are so many layers that you have to go through to even understand how the system works. Like, just preparing for this video took me a bunch of extra time, and I've been playing the heck out of BattleHub. And so just to start here with BattleHub, it's basically, in my opinion, the new replacement for casual matches. Obviously, you don't lose any points with it, other things like that, but your in-game rewards are substantial in there. That's like basically how you can unlock all the in-game currency. There's other ways of doing it too through other modes, but like Battle Hub is kind of like the main way of doing it. So instead of playing casual, why not play Battle Hub is basically what it comes down to. To break down the in-game currency, there's 3 major currency things that you're going to want to use here. The first one is kudos, and they basically hand these out like candy, generally in about like 100 doses and stuff like that. And these are the lowest rung of the currency that you can get in the game.
What kind of stuff do you get from kudos, by the way? Like what are the rewards?
You basically get like the lowest in-game items like stickers and other stuff, so you can decorate your photos. Kudos are basically the lowest rung, the pennies or whatever you would think of.
Okay.
So next up, we've got the drive tickets, and they're the middle run currency, above kudos but below fighter coins, which we'll get to in a second. And you can use these to purchase part of the avatar costumes, as you can see here with the footage that I have. If you want the whole costume, you have to use fighter coins to get it, but more on those in a second. Drive tickets can also be awarded for finishing certain challenges and of other things. You're probably not going to get a ton of these kind of like mid-level currencies, and you can't use drive tickets to like unlock characters. It's very limited what you can use drive tickets for. Oh, and to go back to kudos here for a second, to unlock all the stuff that you'd want to get with kudos, which includes some fighter coins and stuff like that, you need 15,000 of them. So 100 here, 100 here, like it adds up and stuff. And there's other ways of boosting it. But we'll get to that here in a second. And then lastly, we have fighter coins. These are very hard to come by. And generally speaking, you have to plunk down real money to get them. I don't know a way of getting them without actually putting in real money. So what happens here is you can purchase the premium pass, and then once you do that, you get 250 fighter coins, which is basically the equivalent of $5 in fighter coins. So once you plug down $5 for fighter coins, you can get it back, but you have to grind like a mother, so yeah. So it's like, okay, so like it makes sense, but coming from something like Street Fighter V, which just had one currency, which fight money, like this is like, it's really hard to wrap your head around, and it's like, what is this?
And
like,
also, how fun is it? How fun are these grinds? What kinds of missions or things are you doing? And is it stuff that, that's a good enough question as is. How fun is it to grind for these things?
So you're basically just going into Battle Hub. Like there's some challenges menus and stuff in there. Like, it's like log into Battle Hub or go talk to, this person or that. But it's usually win 10 matches on like a Battle Hub thing. And then here you can see from the footage, when you're running through the Battle Hub, if you see any of the cabinets that are glowing, they give you bonus kudos for playing on those machines. And you'll very often get challenged and stuff on those machines. Like you can go right into training mode, you can go right into other stuff on them. But people are often going to come up and try to, win because they get more kudos for doing it, basically. It's a way to more quickly unlock rewards, but it's still a pretty large grind.
Have you ever turned on Street Fighter 6 specifically to gather kudos?
Yes.
Or has it always been a bonus of like something you were doing?
It's because I really wanted this costume here, not the one I'm showing. There was a swimsuit costume that popped up that I really wanted for my Avatar heroes, and I was like, oh, this is great and stuff, and it had a limited time on it, and it was like $15 if I wanted to pay real money for it. And I'm like, well, let me grind this, let me actually figure out the system. I want to know how this works. I enjoy Battle Hub and stuff, and I didn't get anywhere close in that amount of time to how much I needed to unlock it. One, the system was just so hard for me to figure out, and then two, like it takes a while. It's a lot of grinding to get there.
I do not care about my avatar, and I wonder how many Street Fighter 6 players don't care, because at this point, outside of the 2 DLC characters, that's the majority of the DLC content that we've gotten, right? It all has to do with this very specific mode that I don't think, what is it, like 50% of the people that play Street Fighter 6 might care about this? Is it maybe a little bit more? Do you care about this, audience members? Like, do you, how much do you care about your avatar? How have you designed your own, or did you just quit, like, not everybody's a custom character kind of player.
Yeah. It took me a bit to get to Battle Hub. Like, again, I was playing casual. I mostly play ranked, but it was like, oh, let me mess around with this and let's see what's there. Now that I've played it, it does bring back some of the arcade old school feel to it. I actually do really like Battle Hub quite a bit, and I really hope it stays in all future releases of the Street Fighter series. It's nice. It feels like going to a tournament in some ways. And what I really wish is that the seats and everything that they have, like when there's a major tournament going on, like, we just had CPT Singapore, I wish that you could sit there and watch it with other people. Like, that would be so cool able to watch it in game, if you want to bring up the frame data and stuff like that, I would love a way to be able to watch the game in the game. Kind of put the game in the game. But yeah. So this is what I'm getting at here. Like this system, it's even explaining it is like, I'm sure I lost most people, and they're like, okay, I have. What is this? Kind of thing. And
I edited out half of what you said.
Yes.
Already. It was worse, guys.
Oh, geez. And so it just feels like it wasn't thought through properly. It wasn't documented properly. Like finding this information, piecing this all together. This is a process of a couple months for me playing this to figure this all out. And it's like, this is my job and other stuff. It's like, how hopeful are most people going to be with like figuring this stuff out? It's not well done. It's not consumer friendly. It's fairly disappointing considering where the other parts of the game are at. And then how important these cosmetic options are for most players. Most people love this stuff. Now, again, we don't know what the premium DLC costumes are going to be specifically for the characters, but I do like my avatar. I spent a bunch of time building Rose up in the beta and other stuff like that. This is I want Rose in the game, and so I made her my avatar, right? Like, it's important to me, but it's also disappointing when you get in there and it's like, okay.
Do you feel like the money that you've put down or the time that you've put in to get DLC content has been worthwhile? Has it been engaging? Has it been a reason for you to join, to turn the game on, or has it been a chore?
It mostly feels like a really obscure chore that I've had to do, and that's where I'm so disappointed with it. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel intuitive. I'm glad something exists. I'm glad that there's some way to grind in-game currency and stuff like that, but it really doesn't feel very well put together, especially coming from Street Fighter V.
It's not that I don't care about getting this stuff. I play in a whole other game, Heroes of the Storm, and just because of the way it's set up, there's a bunch of extra stuff that mean nothing and that don't even manifest in the mode of the game that I play, but I take time in between games to actually go and spend the in-game currency that I get buying extra little banners and sprays and character costumes for characters that I don't play, because the way that economy is set up, it hits the completionist in me. Yeah. And there are a couple of reasons for that I think Street Fighter 6 doesn't hit. And it's I can play Street Fighter 6, especially as a competitive player, without ever even going through the Battle Hub stuff, without ever having that stuff presented up in front of me. And so it's out of sight, out of mind. And I don't get to see this big catalog of things that I could be getting, and that as I go through and get rewards and then buy stuff, then those get checked off and it's this completionist thing. I think if just you present this like that, I would care about getting stuff that I'm never going to put on my avatar if I saw it prominently in front of me, and if I was regularly getting currency from just playing things. Like, I would say, put the stuff in ranked, give rewards from playing in ranked. Well, why not?
That's how it was in 5.
Make it, make us engage with it more, because at this point, it's a complete other dusty, not used part of the game for me, and I have to assume a significant number of players.
Yeah. So. And again, I really do like Battle Hub. I just wish it was executed better. But I am prepared to talk about some of the more, for people who frequently the Battle Hub area like I did, the TMNT edition of the song that Alex Lee, the voice actor for Luke, sang. It lasted, I think, for about 2 months. Maybe, I don't know. It felt like a lifetime, because every single time you logged into the Battle Hub, you got that rendition of it. And look, no offense to Alex, but reportedly he was asked by Capcom to sing karaoke like last minute. And I guess he didn't even know that the theme song was going to like go in like that way, or how it was going to work, or whatever. Shoutouts to Capcom doing random stuff. There's this last minute like thrown together theme song, and it's playing on loop for 2 months straight. And every time you go into Battle Hub, every time you go in, you hear this, and it's like, what the heck? Like, this is a game that's not lauded for its music to begin with, and this is not a great song. Like, let's just be honest here. I don't think Alex Lee felt like he did a really good job on this song. That's pretty much what he talked about. He didn't have much chance to rehearse. How is he going to do a really good job on it? And you play it on loop for 2 months. It's like, what were you thinking? So this is the stuff I'm talking about with Battle Hub, that it really doesn't seem like they thought enough of the stuff through in terms of a user experience. And that's where I get very frustrated with this. It's kind of an annoying thing that should be a much better and much more straightforward experience, and it's not.
Well, you gotta make us want to go to the Battle Hub more. You gotta not want to make us want to leave the Battle Hub. And again, these character costumes that are en route, we've seen them for like Ken and Guile and Jury. The Jury one, I didn't realize it because it was so long ago that they showed it, I had forgotten about it. You see people already drawing artwork for that version of Jury. She's in like a onesie, snuggie kind of a thing. It's got a little spider on the back like a jammies, and she's kind of like pigtails. You see that all over character fan art nowadays. So I think these will do really well, and I think they'll be, well, I would say worth grinding for. And also, there is a power and an allure in making, like, what would you say, premium content accessible via grinding, because it gives people another reason to play the game. And maybe if it's between, I'm going to play Street Fighter 6 or maybe I'm going to play Mortal Kombat 1 today, but I really want that Ken costume when it comes out, I'm going to grind a little bit there because I want to stay ahead of that because I don't want to spend real money on it. There's power in not just making all of this completely behind a full paywall. So I wonder how they're going to go about that, but I assume that those are going to be full price, just real money kind of interactions, the way that they've sort of set things up here.
Yeah, I mean, you can grind for it, but you're probably going to have to spend some real money along the way to get there.
Yeah, because like you're getting like drive tickets like 50 every 2 weeks, and sometimes there will be a big dump of them, but I don't like it's not stuff that you could just do forever, like grind and ranked and get points. And even if it's just 10 at a time or whatever, like something, it's all controlled by Capcom very specifically, and it's all really just on a time, making sure that you come back regularly for little bumps. It's not a good system in terms of getting people motivated to continue to come back through. So I don't hate this game, by the way. We've been talking a lot of negatives about it, and again, the honeymoon period's over, so sure. I think that a lot of this has potential. There's a lot of good that's been going on. I'm relatively happy with the DLC characters that have come out so far. I don't know how they're going to make Ed interesting, but then you also have Akuma on the way, so, and hey, maybe they'll do something cool with Ed. I guess I'm okay with them charging for them completely and not letting me grind to access the characters if I want. Even if it's technically a little more expensive to buy them in bulk. Did you see that in your research? That I think maybe you get the secondary, like all of the colors or something, and there's like an extra $2 that for those. So I don't know how much you're getting out ahead as opposed to just buying them individually and only getting the ones that maybe you want. But see, little things like that hurt the relationship that you feel with Capcom. Because you're like, are you just trying to like cut corners and stuff and get me here and there? I don't like it. So I think that it's decent. It's got decent foundations, but they need to level it up and they need to make it more enticing, and they need to make it feed the rest of the experience as opposed to draw your attention away from it.
Yeah, it's the fact that so many people haven't gone into BattleHub, and then all the people that I've heard that have gone in there have basically complained about this currency system, where it was fairly beloved. One of the few things that Street Fighter V did well was its in-game currency system. Even people who didn't like the game were like, look, I can grind the fight money in here by playing ranked and other stuff like that. I never have to buy the DLC characters. I can actually just grind this and get there. And a number of people did, and that was really cool that game had that. And again, I don't blame Capcom for somewhat going away from that, but like, this feels like just such a huge departure from what 5 was, and it's like, man, I don't know if you guys really thought this through. I don't know if the experience is really maybe matching the expectations from the community.
They need loot boxes. Loot boxes are the magical answer to things. And I don't mean pay for them. I mean, every 50 wins, or maybe every 50 matches or whatever in ranked, you get a loot box, and then you get to open it up and it shoots fireworks and your brain goes, wee, and then you get 4 silly little items that point your attention toward the fact that those items exist. And hey, now you've started to check, oh, what other ones are in there? Oh, I have some extra cash and I'm not going to do anything with it. I could buy the elbow pads and a pink, like, eye patch or whatever, and like that would be a thing that would immediately start to get the ranked and casual side that doesn't go into BattleHub their attention over to the other stuff, and you would capture a bunch of completionists just like that, and it would feed itself. Capcom, do it.